Manuscripts on UFOs and ancient aliens in Vatican secret archives have been found by a researcher scientist. The archive's treasures are the stuff of legend, but their existence is absolutely real. Throughout human history, some people possessed an immense amount of knowledge in various fields, and here a Russian man named Genrik Mivriekevich Ludwig had a vast knowledge of ancient culture. He was an outstanding architect, engineer, and researcher in ancient languages. Ludwig was even compared to Leonardo da Vinci. He's apparently known for getting access to secret Vatican archives and purportedly found information concerning ancient aliens, extraterrestrials, that is. Professor Ludwig's story was first revealed by a very popular newspaper in 2011, an article titled Worlds of Professor Ludwig, that's the English translation, by Vladimir Kurayans. The author described Ludwig as overweight, bald, with a huge forehead and a Scandinavian beard. His blue bulging eyes looked very intent under thick gray eyebrows. He used to get in trouble with the Stalin regime many times, and the Soviet Federal Agency and KVD declared him as an agent of the Vatican counterintelligence, sending him to concentration camps in 1938. Kucharyans recalled Professor Ludwig's first lecture in 1960s that sounded interesting at first and then confusing for everybody by mixing linguistics, ancient and medieval history and architecture, plant symbolism, types of labyrinths, phenomena from the history of science. Though the author was Ludwig's student and researched a lot about him, he's still unaware who Genrik Ludwig really was, a phenomenal encyclopedist or a mystic. He wrote that after meeting with the professor, his life changed, which allowed him to see the world from a different perspective. Ludwig's bizarre claims came from reading Vatican's secret archives, now known as Vatican Apostolic Archive. It is 53 miles of shelving that holds 35,000 volumes of catalog and 12 centuries documents. The archives are stuff of historical legend. Documents at the repository are only released once they are at least 75 years old. During the 1920s, Professor Ludwig somehow was granted access to the Vatican Library, where he was able to read some bizarre ancient manuscripts that probably could change the course of humanity. He claimed to have come across numerous texts on ancient codes, alchemy, and strange things about UFOs and extraterrestrials who visited Earth in the ancient past. And according to him, he read texts which discussed the influence of aliens on the various ancient civilizations, such as the Egyptians, the Mayans, the Mesopotamians. Subsequently, he began his research on the Maya civilization. Ludwig translated their symbols that turned out to be spaceships and spacesuits. He also found historical records of the use of nuclear weapons in ancient times and showed his photographs of the fortress walls of Babylon melted by a monstrous temperature up to a height of 1.5 meters. So what happened there? We know that in Mohenjo-Daro we have evidence of nuclear blast. The sand has been turned to glass. Professor Ludwig was very interested in the Sumerian civilization and had great knowledge about it. It's not known from where Sumerians came to Mesopotamia, but in the middle of the 4th millennium BC, a sudden and incredible transformation happened to them. They suddenly learned how to build cities and enclose them with strong walls, lay irrigation canals, and create the world's first complex irrigation systems. They invented the wheel and the writing system. At first, Sumerian writing was pictographic, that is, individual objects were depicted in the form of drawings. The oldest texts inscribed with such a letter date back to about 3200 BC. He also discussed the esoteric meaning of the pyramids in Egypt, that under certain ritual manipulations generate an energy information exchange with the cosmic mind. He studied the Etruscan civilization and in particular believed that images of angels in Christianity come from Etruscan culture. Professor Ludwig was no ordinary man. During World War II, he worked as an architect, design engineer, an inventor while being an inmate of the Gulag, and from 1941 to 43 he had 17 military inventions on his name. He was very well known among UFO researchers and ancient alien theorists. In 2016, WikiLeaks revealed thousands of emails that were allegedly linked to Podesta. Emails unfolded secret information shared with him about UFOs and ETs. Now, he also received emails from astronaut Edgar Mitchell that expresses concern about weaponizing of space and its impact on ET intelligence. And according to this set of leaks, the Vatican, one of the highest religious authorities in the world, knows about aliens, extraterrestrials. And Edgar Mitchell wrote, "My Catholic colleague Terry Mansfield will be there too to bring us up to date on the Vatican's awareness of ET intelligence. Another colleague is working on a new space treaty, citing involvement with Russia and China. However, with Russia's extreme interference in Ukraine, I believe we must pursue another route for peace in space and ZPE on Earth." Still, due to less corroborating information available about Professor Ludwig, there has been some skepticism of his claims. Did he really gain access to the secret Vatican archives and find all this amazing information? And this is on Collective Spark by Vicky Vermehausen-Wise. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support, and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.